Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nancy, for having me again. As usual, it is always a pleasure to speak to all of you about some things that the IOCC and just the general public should know. Um, as Nancy has mentioned, I've done this a few times, so if you've ever listened to me talk, I go kind of fast, so I'll slow down if you need me to, but I'm going to get through a lot of information within this next hour. Um, Today, we're really talking about what families and communities need to know and how to protect your youth. Um, so I'll get started. Wait. All right. So if you know anything about the Liquor Control Commission, our mission is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the people of Illinois through careful control, education, manufacture, distribution, and sale of alcoholic liquors, and the development of strategies to reduce drunk driving and youth alcohol access to alcoholic products. Few topics we'll go over today. When I say few, I mean a lot. First thing is, what is alcoholism? Second is alcohol stats, how alcohol affects your mind and your body. Co-branded products, co-branded alcohol-infused products, which is something that we are now overseeing at the moment, and drinking trends as well as upcoming drinking events. And then I'll have a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them at the end of the presentation. All right, what is alcoholism? If you are an industry person, you already know some of these things, but just in case you don't, alcohol dependency is also known as AUD, or alcohol addiction, is a medical condition characterized by impaired ability to stop or control alcohol use. Some of the symptoms include strong cravings, the need to consume, physical dependency, and tolerance. We collected some few alcohol stats recently, so bear with me. We found that 178,000 people die from uh, excessive alcohol consumption every year. Um, we threw these facts and stats together over the summer. My interns did, and they were actually very surprised that this many people die every year from alcohol. They're all college students, so they're very aware of the whole campus alcohol drinking situation. So that was an eye opener for them. Another one they did was they found out that every 39 minutes, one American dies due to drunk driving. This stat was from last year. Now we know that alcohol use is down, and it is down for drunk driving as well, which is a good thing for the state of Illinois and just overall for the U.S. That means that we're actually touching some people, and it's actually helping reduce the amount of people getting on the road after consuming alcohol. 1 in 5 deaths. What this means is between the age of 20 and 49 years old, 1 in 5 deaths is caused by overconsumption of alcohol. As regulators, we can't tell people what to do or how to do it. Our job is simply to one of our jobs is to just inform the public, such as many of you. We want to make sure they have the best information available to them to help them make good choices. At the age of 20, we know these young people are going off to college, or they're already in college, and they're making decisions for themselves, some for the first time. As you get older, you also are still making more decisions for yourselves, and life tends to happen. So we're very, very aware of that, and we constantly are putting out information and providing resources for people who need assistance, want to know where to go, and how they can get help or how they can help someone that they love. Because we don't want any deaths, but we know that it happens. 25.37% of adults admit to drunk driving. Again, over the summer, we got this stat, and it was alarming to not just, general public, but also our interns, because that's the population that doesn't really understand the implications that can happen when you overconsume and when you drink and drive. You know, that younger demographic is the demographic of they're invincible. And they believe that to be true, even though we know that is not true. Um, so those are just a couple of stats. I know some of you may have more stats for me. Feel free to throw them in the chat if you like. But I'll get started on the next topic, which is how alcohol affects your mind and your body. We recently added this to one of our programs here at the ILCC. It's called the Beverage Alcohol Sellers and Servers Program, also known as BASSET, if you've ever heard of it. So last year, we decided to include this into our training. More so for the servers and bartenders to understand how alcohol works, because they're in a setting where they're dealing with customers, and sometimes customers can get unruly, upset, angry, and we want them to understand how alcohol is actually affecting their customers and their patrons and their establishments. So one way to do that was to give them a quick little overview of how alcohol directly affects the mind and the body. And so these are a few things we discussed with them. We let them, we inform them about simple things. Alcohol, it impacts every organ, your brain, your esophagus, liver, heart, hormones, your digestive system, and of course your pancreas. Um, Most people know this, but a lot of people don't realize that every time you drink, you're directly affecting your organs every single time. Um, Now, some people choose to drink, and that's fine. Some people choose not to. But no matter what, the moment you take a sip, something in your body is being directly affected. Some of the cause and risk factors. Alcohol dependency develops due to a combination of a few things. One, your genetic factors, family history of risk, your I read an article somewhere that stated that if you have a family member who has a history of alcoholism, there is a better chance of you or someone in your family um, developing a form of alcoholism or addiction to alcohol. Your environmental factors, your stress, your trauma, peer influences. We've all heard this. If you haven't, I'm surprised. I'll be surprised if you haven't. But people use alcohol sometimes as a way to self-medicate when they're going through things. If you've ever heard someone say, I had a long day, I'm stressed out, I need to have a drink, this is one way people tend to cope. They use other outside sources to help them deal with what's going on. And that does not change the fact that whatever you're dealing with, it's still going to be there once the alcohol wears off. Mental health conditions, anxiety, PTSD, depression, bipolar disorder, all these mixed with alcohol can have a grave impact on your health and wellness. And so sometimes it can exacerbate the situation. Early use. So we always talk about the youth getting access to alcohol, the youth drinking. Um, I believe it was ABC recently did a report that in Illinois, youth are drinking at a higher rate. I believe it was across the country. Don't quote me. I'm paraphrasing, but I do remember watching that actual newscast. And the younger person starts to drink, um, it's a higher risk of them having issues with alcohol later on in life. So the idea is to start talking to them young so that they understand all the implications that can go with them drinking alcohol early. Before I do that, I want to say this. Most children, young people, they're getting alcohol in their house. It's not like they're going out because they can't get into bars, they can't get to restaurants. They're actually getting in the home. And we'll talk about a few of the co-branded products on the market later, but I just want to put that out there so I remember to actually circle back to that. Um, Another few ways that alcohol affects your mind and body is the excessive use of alcohol can change the structure of your brain. It can actually cause it to shrink. When I started this job, 3, 4 years ago, I did not know that. So that was actually very shocking to me. Um, Alcohol also disrupts your body temperature, sleep, and coordination. These are simple things that most people know. If you've ever seen someone highly intoxicated, they can't. Their coordination is absolutely terrible, and they tend to drop things every 5 minutes. Um, People who overconsume also have issues with numbness in their legs, feet, hands. Their perception obviously is completely off, and their reaction time is terrible. This is important because when people overconsume and get behind a car, one of the biggest issues is their reaction time is horrible. They can't control a vehicle. Um, they also have a decrease in focus, and they cannot problem solve. And alcohol, one of the biggest things is that it actually affects your memory. I'm not a clinical person, but the memory loss and the shrinking of the brain, I feel like that goes hand in hand. People who have suffer from alcoholism, they can also have chronic diseases like liver cirrhosis, pancreatitis, hepatitis, or throat cancer. These are just a few diseases that are caused because of alcohol overconsumption of alcohol. One of the things that we just put a press release out recently, and I believe it's September, is fetal alcohol syndrome disorder. Um, I just stated that the younger that a person is introduced to alcohol, the harder it is later on in life. This is one of those moments, and this is not even a direct effect of the a person drinking. It's someone else drinking alcohol while you're in utero. So these are just a few things that the alcohol can affect in your mind and body. I've gone through some of this stuff already, so I'll go through this quickly. Um, some of the ways alcohol can affect your mental state are simple things like one, alcohol is a depressant. Most people think it's not a depressant because they see people who drink and they look like they're having a great time, but it's actually a depressant. So it people who suffer from different personality disorders, um, like paranoia, depression, anxiety, it actually does not help them when they drink. It makes things worse. The neurotransmitters in the brain are the chemical messengers. So that's where your thoughts and feelings and emotions are affected. So if you're someone who suffers from mental health disorders, it's going to exacerbate the situation. All right. So I know I stated something about young people not getting alcohol um, outside. A lot of them are getting it from their homes. A few of the products on the market, and I've gone through these previously, but I like to keep talking about them because alcohol, the alcohol marketplace is constantly changing. People are trying to always figure out different ways to add alcohol into anything. A lot of parents, grandparents, teachers, they're not aware of every product on the market. So we like to go through them over and over again so that you guys are fully informed of the products that you see in the market. Also, we want you to see the actual product and see the labeling. So if you ever see this, you know immediately that this is an alcohol based product. Um, Mountain Dew. Uh, a few years back, I want to say two to be exact, Mountain Dew came out with a alcohol infused Mountain Dew. This is one of the articles, well, one of the pieces of content we put out for this. It was a game. Can you find the alcohol infused uh, drink? There are actually four in this image. So we gave people time to look. It took them a while, but there are four, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys take a look. Let me know if you can see them. All right. Okay. Few people. All right. So I'll just tell you where they are. The top row, it is the third item. The second row is the fourth on the right. The third one is the third row, the very first one. and then the fourth row is the fourth one on the right. So if you're looking at this and you don't know this, say you're a mom, you go in the store, your kids want some Mountain Dew. This is where the problem became issue for us. We were getting images or pictures sent or people reaching out saying that these products were sitting directly next to the non-alcoholic version in the store. So the product placement in the store was put the alcohol infused one next to the non-alcohol version. Now, again, these were new products, so no one actually knew that they were alcohol based. So if you're a mom, grandma, go in the store, your kid saying, "Hey, I want some Mountain Dew," and you go pick it up, you take it home, you're not aware that this product even has 5 I think it's 5% alcohol, 5.6% alcohol in it. So you buy it unknowing, not knowing that this has alcohol in it. And to us, that was a problem because that meant that young people would get this in their hands, and we don't want any of them having to go to hospital because they've been ingested alcohol. And in the stores, unfortunately, they were most of them were unaware because you just stock the items. Another item was on the market that's currently on the market as well is the Sunny D vodka seltzer. Now, granted, totally different bottle. The likelihood of you not realizing that it's alcohol is slimmer. But again, if it's sitting next to the Sunny D, the regular, you would just think it's a new can. This was actually an image of one of the advertisements for the alcohol because why not? All right, this is another image. So this one is probably one of my favorites because if you can guess it, I would really be happy if you can. But these are all particularly all waters, all seltzers. One of these seltzers has alcohol in it. Now, if you notice by looking at this image, the color schemes are the same. There's really no difference. The cans are the same. So if these are all sitting on the shelves, how would you know which one has alcohol? Oh, those are some great guesses. If you see me looking back, it's because I have three screens. So, but these are some great questions. And the person who said the funny water is absolutely correct. It is water that has alcohol in it. Um, but we're looking at the box right now. Outside the cans look very similar to the bubbly. So if you put these on the shelves, put them in a refrigerator in a store, and you mistakenly line them up with the bubbly, someone would just grab that, think it's the same thing. So those are the issues. Those are the issues that we hear and see, and we have to regulate because we don't want this to get in the hand of young people. But if you're a parent who likes these products, guess what? You take them home, you have to also be mindful of where you put them in your house because your children will grab them. Um, Everyone seems to want to get in on this niche marketplace. So we had in a year, 2 years, so many different ones coming out. Even Monster got in on it. This was one ad that we found in that we were sent in a local store. Look who's turning 21. Now I can't speak on the advertising, but it I'll let you guys figure that out. It is not this product is not supposed to have caffeine in it, so it's not technically considered an energy drink by way of Monster, but it does have alcohol. Now, just side note, we spoke briefly. I spoke briefly about alcohol being a depressant. Now, if you add a depressant with a caffeinated drink, you're gonna have a problem on your hands. I like to say you drink several of these. If they had caffeine, you would be a wide awake, intoxicated person. So you'd be wired, but also exhausted, and your body wouldn't know how to regulate itself because all the neurotransmitters is telling you that you have over consumed. They're not because your body's hyped up on caffeine. But we'll talk about that later on. few more products on the market. Yes, Warheads did get in on the action. So did Simply Spiked Lemonade and Topo Chico. They all have a alcohol version of their drinks. Um, I don't know any adult, and again, I don't know all the adults in the world that would drink Warhead Sour. I just don't. Would you? I mean, I wouldn't. Would anybody in this audience drink Warhead Sour? No, okay, great. Topo Chico. Now I can actually contest this being a problem because I was out somewhere and I went to a backyard barbecue. At this barbecue, they had Topo Chico, they had a regular Topo Chico, but someone not unknowingly bought the alcoholic version. Guess where both of them were? They were in the same bin, the same bed the kids were going to. Luckily, the kids don't grab water. That's not their first thing to do is grab water. So we were they were safe on that. But once it was realized the person who brought it, her first reaction was, I didn't even know they had alcohol. When they started putting alcohol in sparkling seltzer water. And I said, you have to, and we noticed it. I didn't notice it, someone else did. They were like, this is hard seltzer. I was like, wait, that's alcohol based. No one knew. We had to take all the alcohol ones out, put them up somewhere else. But that started a conversation because guess what? These adults that I was with, um, and I don't usually tell people what I do for a living, but I had to have a real conversation with them about these alcohol co-branded products because they didn't know. Um, so one, they got to figure out what I did for a living. Two, I had to have a impromptu presentation to grown people about the products that were on the market, which to me was kind of fun. The other one was Spike Lemonade. Simply Lemonade started off as what? Orange juice. They have evolved. Now they are putting out alcohol-based seltzers. And again, if you're not paying attention, if you didn't know this, you pick it up. Now this one, just like the Mountain Dew, they do put the word spiked and hard on them. But if you notice, these products have been on market for so long. A lot of people glance at things and they just look at the image. They're not a lot of you can say that some people just don't read the labels. They see the image and they go for it. Um, and that's sometimes what happens. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I bet you guys had no idea that Dunkin' Donuts also has a alcohol-based coffee. Um, they came out with them, I want to say early last year. Um, I'm gonna leave this up to you guys to ponder over. I will say this: buying coffee is usually drink in the morning. Most people drink it while on their way to work. I drink coffee. I've never gone to Dunkin' Donuts or any place at 6 o'clock at PM to purchase these product we could purchase a product like this. So that's all I'm gonna say about that because I don't want any issues with any companies.
Nicole,
Um,
Nicole,
yes.
I'm curious as to are these marketed in the grocery stores or in their facilities?
From what I gathered, these are only marketed in the stores.
Okay.
Just when I say this, I'm just talking for Dunkin' Donuts.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing I was asking too, because we have a new one here in our area. Not my favorite
you
place to
should go and
start,
check.
but I just may because it's right in the middle of one of the colleges in Illinois. You know, it's a college town and they're 2 blocks from campus.
So I've seen it in two Dunkin' Donuts when I've been in Chicago. And typically where they're located is they have a freestanding like refrigerator, and they were in there. Um, I saw one. I want to say it was Southern Illinois, and one a little bit outside the city of Chicago.
Yeah, I didn't know if they'd have to have a liquor license if they had it in one of their stores to sell it or what.
Well, they everyone who sells alcohol should have a liquor license. So I'm gonna go yes. Um, but we'll I will get some more information about this because I do find this one to be actually a little bit fascinating on how they were able to pull this off.
Well, and they are also a company that is putting a lot more stuff into the more rural areas. They're opening in a lot of rural communities, which is concerning too if this is going on.
Yeah, I'm started because I feel like you can go to a bar and get an Irish coffee that involves alcohol. So I'm wondering if that's how they were able to slip that in there. But we'll see. Like I said, this one actually just shocks me the most. That I still don't understand how this got through. All right. I mentioned product placement and how they were positioning these products next to the non-alcoholic versions. This is the actual image that was taken by one of us in a store. They put the Mountain Dew right between all things kids like. So I won't say this is on purpose, but I do think that the positioning of these products do not help when it comes to young people. Um, Now, they probably put this on here thinking it was regular Mountain Dew. That's what I think really happened. Because most people who stock are younger. They're not paying attention, they're just putting it where they're told. So we saw things like this, and then here's another one. Well, that's one of them. The other one that we saw was actually the hard Mountain Dew was next to some kids racing toys, like cars. Um, and I made probably a horrible joke about it, but I said, "Wow, you're gonna put the alcohol right next to cars. I don't like the way this looks." Um, you know, but that was just me. Um, few things we also have. So we had the co-branded products. So what we did was we put in a permanent rule. Every every product that's co-branded must have a sign next to it to inform the public that it has alcohol in it. Moving forward, it's a permanent rule. Every store you go into should have this sign. And it basically is like this product is alcohol based. And it is going to say permanent rule on the bottom. We created it. Everybody should have it next to any co-branded product. That also goes for these co-branded alcohol-infused products that we're going to talk about. I believe it was January 1st, 2025. We also started regulating alcohol-infused products. This is your ice creams, your whipped creams, your uh, sorbets, popsicles, anything that could turn into a liquid that has alcohol, we now regulate. And that same sign has to be next to it. Um, this is another part of the alcohol market became very niche. People, like I said, if they can figure out how to put alcohol in it, they want to put alcohol in it. But ice cream became popular. There's several liquor stores in Chicago that you can go buy alcohol infused ice cream. You can also buy whipped cream. I've seen the whipped cream. Uh, it is what it is. Uh, I will not comment on the whipped cream. The popsicles are the ones that really, really are. Those are probably the ones that worry me the most because they're popsicles, and who loves popsicles?
Mhm.
So, as adults and with children buying those popsicles, I really feel like you're putting yourself in a 50-50 chance that your child will ingest it. Um, because I have nieces, nephews, cousins who the moment it gets hot outside, they want a popsicle. They do not care. They will come with the popsicle in hand, ready for you to rip it open, or they'll sneak a popsicle. So if you're someone who has popsicles, like alcohol infused popsicles in your house and little children, you have to be mindful that if they're in the same place as their regular popsicles, you're now gonna have a mix. They're gonna mix. Um, and they're about 5-6%. So it's not, for a 7-8 year old, that's a lot. Um,
Yeah. I remember 2 years ago, somebody, when you were doing that piece, talking about there being alcohol in yogurt in the
yeah,
Aldi stores in their area. So I immediately went and looked in our store and I didn't see it, but I was told by somebody in a later presentation that they had found it in theirs.
yeah, it was in I believe it was Aldi's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so there's like I said, there's many products on the market. You have to just pay attention to your labels. I can't stress enough that people just read. Um, there was someone who noticed the heart on the can. I love that. A lot of people don't even notice that it says heart on the Mountain Dew can. A lot of people don't realize it says spite on that Simply Lemonade can. Uh, there are some cans that they might, and the letters are they're small. So if you get a regular can of either one of those, they're going to be small. So if you're someone like me who wears glasses and I don't have my glasses that day, I the chance of me seeing a lot of those things, a lot of those words, not good. If you're a grandma with your grandchildren, guess what? Probably not going to see it. Grandpa probably not going to notice it. You're just going to get them what they want and get out the store. So I can't stress enough how we want people to pay attention to labels. Just don't look at name recognition and brand recognition. Actually read the labels to make sure you're getting the product that you want to have in your home. Um, so that's my soapbox for that. I want to talk about a few more things before we get to questions. Drinking trends. One of my favorite topics right now. I am a social media junkie when it comes to looking for drinking trends. One of the trends that you guys may have heard about, we found out about it about 2 years ago. It was a Borg. Borg stands for Blackout Rage Gallon. That name should not alarm anybody. I'm joking, it should alarm everyone. No one should want to black out from drinking. The Borg is the newest trend, the latest trend, the only one we found recently that has been consistent for young people and minors. Um, if you're like most college kids, 2000s, 1990s, or 1900s, um, you know, your college nights may have been a little bit different. We had party punch, which usually was very questionable. They would put in a bin. If some of you guys drink, I know you understand this. It's okay. We've all been there at one point, but they would put it in a container. We don't know if it was sanitized or not. It's whatever. Um, and we were always told, alcohol would kill the germs. I heard that many times in college. Uh, you were given a red cup and you filled it up without question and you went about your day. So today's youth, a lot of them, grow with, I would say, millennial parents who are slightly germaphobes, which cause them to care about germs. And they created this idea of a board. Now, thanks to TikTok, I was able to find out about this board a couple of years ago and educate our staff about them. Now, we can appreciate the innovation uh, of these young people of trying to create a situation where less they have more control of what they drink and what's in their container, and it actually helps with harm reduction because the container is closed. It has their little name on it or whatever their name they want to call it, um, and you can sip it as the day goes on. And it allows those who don't drink the opportunity to still participate without having to drink and not feel like they're peer pressured into doing it. Now, it's a gallon. And when I explain to you what's in it, you'll understand why this is concerning. Because no matter what, the risk does not outweigh the harm. Um, Blackout rage gallons. Uh, so what they do is they take a gallon of water, they pour it out, they pour half of it out, and then they pour a fifth or 700 milliliters of alcohol in there, vodka, whatever the alcohol of choice is. Um, they put hydration powder and water enhancers. This is why I say these young people, they they're smart. Because they decided, oh, if we put hydration powder in it, we're gonna be hydrated. Uh, this gallon they go around, they drink it. Some drink it in 2 hours, some drink it in four, some drink it 6, some drink it in 10. No matter what, the gallon itself would take 16 hours for them to process all that alcohol. Approximately 6 hours, 16 hours. The hydration powder is not really helping them because, again, like I said earlier, alcohol is a depressant. Um, I actually missed one thing. Some of them, their water enhancers are caffeinated. So they use things like Mio. Mio has a caffeinated version now. So a lot of them are putting the caffeine version in there. So now you mix caffeine with the depressant, which I mentioned earlier is a disaster waiting to happen. And then you put the water enhancer in there, your hydration powder, because you feel like I'm gonna stay hydrated. Um, the addition of the caffeine for the flavoring is adding a stimulant to the drink, which weakens your brain's response to the amount of alcohol that you're consuming. Um, because you don't feel tipsy, so or drunk. You feel fine, but your body is crying out for help. Um, and at the end of it, this is something if you drink it quickly, um, you can potentially black out, which is harmful for everybody. It could be a literal nightmare for the person who has consumed this alcohol and very dangerous. Um, I'll go back to that. So what we did was we put information out. We had I think a senator reach out about it. We talked about it. Um, the college campuses are aware of it. We do, we do underage compliance checks on college campuses. If the local police department asks us to ask our enforcement department to come out, our enforcement division will come out if asked. And they will go around college campuses and try to uh, help the local police department deal with overconsumption of alcohol. Now, I will say this: we don't we don't deal with the actual individuals. We deal with our licensees. So if our licensees are doing something that's against the law, we will fine them. We will restrict them or somehow, and they have to deal with us on a one-on-one basis. Anything that happens with the actual civilians, the citizens, the youth, that is handled with the local police department. Next slide. All right, some drinking events that are coming up. What is the one holiday that seems to have everyone moving around in costumes and getting overly intoxicated? Halloween. It's one of probably three of the holidays. So we put out information about Halloween. This is one of our posts that we put out, just to kind of give people a heads up on how to, you can have a good time, but also be safe. We want you to, use your ride shares. Make sure you consume water. Um, I have cousins that are young, and I always tell them if you're gonna drink, you're of age, that's fine, but pregame with water, uh, as much as you can. And if you have a drink, drink water right after. So I try to tell them not to do it, but again, in their mind, I was born in 1900, so I am prehistoric at this point, and they're not gonna really listen to me. But a part of me knows that they still hear me. So and they know that they can call me if they ever gonna jam. Just call me, I'll come get you. Um, Plan the rides, plan ahead. Make sure that everyone in your crew has either you can pin them, they have your location, so that you don't end up somewhere you're not supposed to be. One of the things we do for the young people is please avoid the drinking games. That is one of the quickest ways to get you drunk. Um, because you'll keep playing because this game is competition and everybody wants to win the competition. I've never met anyone that say I want to play this game, but I'm okay with losing. So they'll continue to drink. Make sure that you eat food, and then consume responsibly. If your idea to go out to get blackout drunk is the idea of fun to you, there's some other things going on that you need to have a discussion about. So Halloween is coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to be pushing out information about it to make sure that everyone is safe, um, especially to the colleges, and making sure that they are safe because, oh boy, I can't say enough about the colleges. The other one is Blackout Wednesday, right after Halloween, we fall into November. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard about Blackout Wednesday, but this is a doozy. So, Blackout Wednesday, also known as Drinksgiving, happens the night before Thanksgiving, and it's when the college students return home. Usually, this is the first year college students, but it has since become any college student. They return back from college and they meet up. Oh, I didn't notice that there was a typo, to catch up with friends while over consuming alcohol and other substances. The risk in this is blacking out, increased drunk driving accidents, and fatalities. The Blackout Wednesday content on the left is something we put out last year. Again, informing people of what it is, but also providing them with some ways to be safe. Because like I said before, we can't just drill in your head because you're not going to listen to us, but we can offer information and keep you informed. Um, this was a completely new thing to me last year. One of our, again, interns brought me up to speed. I do love interns because they tell me all the things I need to know without me having to ask or search for it. But it's one of the things that happens, it has been happening for years. Um, and then then what they do is they go to Thanksgiving the next day. They're usually either lethargic or they're not, you know, they're really not social. Um, Last year, I was able to pull off some of the advertisements for Black Wednesday. Again, I didn't learn about this until last year. I went online and just searched, Drinksgiving, Blackout Wednesday events in Chicago. Boom, immediately, right here and there. And I was floored because I didn't know this was a thing. There's actually bar crawls for the day before. Um, so if you weren't aware, you are now. Please share this information if you have any college um, or university students in your family, or close to your family. The next one is the unofficial St. Patty's Day. Um, Not to get on any particular college, but there are several colleges in Illinois that have an unofficial St. Patty's Day. And this is a St. Patty's Day a couple days before the actual one. And this is so that they can have a good time. My opinion is they thought they can do this without having the police involved. But they basically thought they were being smarter than the adults that have been here for a while. Um, Again, the younger generation cracks me up. So they would have it a few days before, the weekend before, and they would go out and act like it was St. Patty's Day, and they would drink and drink, and there were a lot of issues, locals. Police officers had a lot of issues with unruly young people, and dealing with the bars as well. So now we are fully prepared for unofficial St. Patty's Day every year now, and it has gotten better. Uh, Less incidents, but this is something that does happen every year on college campuses across the Illinois. All right, a few ways you can get involved. We have a underage compliant assistance program here at the ILCC with our enforcement division. If you know any 18 or 19-year-olds that want to be part of the underage compliant program, they also get paid, and they basically go into local bars and restaurants with the help of the local enforcement in our IOCC enforcement division, and they basically just see if they can purchase alcohol. They are not alone. They're constantly with someone, but it's an opportunity for them just to work with the enforcement division and kind of help us out with making sure that our licensees are um, operating uh, within our compliance. So if you want information, I can shoot this to Nancy and give her the link, and you just have to email our enforcement division and they'll get you set up. And it's only for 18 and 19-year-olds. Next Wednesday on the 22nd, we are having a youth alcohol awareness summit. It will be virtual. We did it last year at the state fair, so it was in person. Went off really well. This year, we're going to do the same thing but virtual. We will have a college panel, and this will be about 2 to 6 college students, and they will discuss all the topics from consent to how they feel like campus security or the the deans handle drinking on campus. Uh, every topic that you guys can think of, they're going to discuss it on that panel. They will be probably talking for about an hour and a half, but they will be happy to answer questions. And it's a good opportunity for people in the industry organizations to get a firsthand listen to what the actual students that are currently in college have to say about alcohol use. So if you want that information, Nancy, I would definitely send you the registration and the link, and and people can just jump on and listen to the young people talk. Any questions?
Anyone?
Let's just see. Okay, I'm seeing what reason does alcohol need to be in these things? I don't know. I People have a very, very weird infatuation with alcohol being in every product. In a
Yeah.
minute, it's going to be in maple syrup. I don't know. Every time someone, I will say this, every time someone says, "Hey, Nicole, I saw this product." I'm like, "Oh gosh, what is it now? What else could it be?" Once we hit popsicles and whipped cream, I pretty much have, I don't know what else to do. Because I don't know how much education can I put out there about every single product. At this point, if they could figure out how to put it into like Skittles, I think they would.
Well, I'm curious as to what people can do that might help you. Is there any kind of feedback that the commission and the liquor control commission
Well,
wants
they just have to
from
keep
the
reaching out.
public or?
Yeah, reach out. Let us know what you see out there in the stores. Because again, we can't be everywhere at all times. So we need the public. We need other organizations to inform us of what's going on. Um, one of the things we find that people, you have people doing the mobile bars. And mobile bars are not legal in Illinois. You can't do those. We have people, we have cocktails that go in the state of Illinois, but they have to be packaged right. We have people putting alcohol in pouches like they're Capri Suns. So it's a constant, we're constantly getting bombarded with products that are on this market or people doing things that are not up to compliance with the liquor laws in the state. And until someone tells us, a lot of times we don't know. Like I said, I scour the social media.
Right. When someone gives you this information, what can you do about it? If people are placing things in the stores or in their businesses that's against policy, against the law, what happens with that? Where does it go?
Well, I can't because I'm not legal, but I do know that a lot of times when we get things like this, we might get a anonymous complaint. That goes to enforcement. Enforcement takes a look at it. They'll even go out. So we go out to locations.
Okay.
If it's something legitimate, our lawyer, we have a legal team. They will reach out to these companies and stop it. A
Okay.
cease and desist will happen quickly. Because the thing is, our job is to protect the public.
Right.
A lot of people know that we also provide liquor licenses, but my position is I have to toe a very fine line of, dealing, handling, making sure the industry is up to code and informed, but also make sure the public is protected.
Right. Right. It's a big job.
We're doing our best. But if you see some of those products and you don't see the sign, next to it, I thought I had the sign in this presentation. I can send you guys. I'll send you the sign, Nancy. You can forward it to them.
Okay.
If you don't see that sign, you can reach out to us immediately. Take a picture and send it to us, and let us know where the location is.
Well, I live in a college town. I need to be paying more attention to that.
Okay, I'm reading one. I was told a story about how. Hold on. Yes. So I've heard a similar story about the self-checkout line. This was something that I actually was concerned about myself. The director was too. I think all of us were. The checkout lines making. I was always in the grocery stores and those stores. The tellers, the cashiers, they're not Bassett trained, which means they don't take our Bassett training, so they wouldn't know what to look for. They would just scan a product, and one of my concerns was, what if they scan a product that is alcohol product and it just doesn't beat that way? Do they
Mhm.
know how to properly check IDs? Because that's what we train
Wow.
and teach them on, is making sure they understand what they're looking for as far as a fake ID, anything like that. But yeah, that the checkout lines, we definitely are, that's a concern of ours. Um, yeah, absolutely, Nana, how they will scan it twice. Absolutely, I've heard that story as well.
Well, I'm going to have to keep an eye out because we get so many. If I'm in Walmart, the checkout line's full of college kids that say they want to get in their checkout and get out fast rather than go through the other lines that take forever,
I'm one of
which
those
makes you
people.
wonder. Yeah. Yeah, but which makes you wonder how many of them are also doing this.
Of course. And
Yeah.
people don't people again, we have to go back to the fact that people are not paying attention. Um People aren't reading, they're just looking at labels, color schemes. I can tell you right now, I get the same, and this is not alcohol based, but I get the same toothpaste. It's not because I like one different, it's just my growing up, we had this one toothpaste, it's brand recognition. I see the colors, grab it. A lot of these products are the same way. That Sunny D, even though it's a different can, I know those colors. I grab it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Tiffany. Okay, I will. Yep, I will. I'm gonna send you guys, Nancy, everything. But let me copy
Okay.
yours, and she can send you for the summit. I really think that the young people, they did it last year, and they talked for good hours.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of a conference then. I would love to sit and listen to it, but I am
Yeah,
tied up all the time today.
I'm gonna record it, but
Good.
they spoke for 1 hour. I think it was seven of them, and they answered so many questions, and they were very candid about it. Because again, they're in college right now. To hear them talk about how their administration handles um on campus, underage drinking on campus, I was floored. And I've been to college, but I don't remember being as open or to talk about these kind of things. Um, but they did a wonderful job last year, so I asked some of them to come back. One of them was actually two or three of them actually my interns, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll come back and talk about it." Two of them go to U of I,
Yeah.
so I am very very excited to hear what they have to say about college, and what's going on now. But I will send that link to you guys, and you guys will get the link for the registration and the link to get online next week.
Yeah, we will try and get that out. I leave for the conference tomorrow, but I think and Christine and I will both be there with a computer in hand so we can go ahead and forward stuff out.
I was at one in South Dakota last week, so I get it. It is the season to be in a conference.
Yeah.
Any
And this
more
was for
questions?
where there'll be a lot of youth, which is good. It's 1 o'clock, and if there aren't any questions, we will wrap up. Otherwise, if anyone's got anything to throw out at Nicole, jump on. I just really appreciate everybody's interest in this because it's just fascinated me the way things have gone. And of course, I'm older than probably any of you. And I think back to how things were addressed when I was young. These weren't fears we had, these weren't concerns we had.
Yeah, great.
It's just
Nancy,
great.
until the next time.
Okay. And I
Have a
hope
good one.
there
Thanks,
is the next
everyone. Have a
time.
great day.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here and being a part of what we're doing.